I travel the world all the time, and one of the most difficult things is actually keeping track of what time zone you're in. So when I was looking for an adventure watch, something for my travels, for like maybe walking through the jungle like today, I wanted something I knew I could rely on. So I've actually only spent £20 on the cheapest watch available, and that's a Casio World Time. When I decided that I wanted to work out what the best watch in the world for travel was, I knew it had to be reliable. Of course, what would the tropics be without a tropical rain shower? So without any exaggeration, it needed to be 100% waterproof and weatherproof, because I've got no intentions of taking it off to go swimming in the sea or hiking in the forests. So having a watch with 100 meters of genuine water resistance was an absolute necessity. And luckily, that's exactly what the Casio has. This is the AE-1000W1AV. They love their catchy names, don't they? But it's basically the round version of the ever popular Casio Royale. Personally, I actually think I prefer this round version, even though the squared version is probably more famous. The face of this watch was designed to resemble an aircraft cockpit instrument panel, and I actually think that comes across quite strongly. And it's probably what gives it its sort of rugged adventure feel. It's probably the child in me, but to be honest, I just love the way you choose the world time and the way it corresponds with the little black section on the world map. It's just so much fun to scroll through the different time zones. But then, of course, it is also practical, especially for someone like me who travels from different time zones. And of course, I like to phone my family or have work meetings, and I need to make sure I'm not phoning someone at 3 in the morning. I appreciate that some people seem to find this kind of thing an anachronism now that you can own an Apple Watch, and a widget on that will automatically change your time zones and everything else. But if you're like me and just really don't want to wear a smartwatch which is constantly bothering you by telling you about text messages and stuff like that, this is a much better option. According to the manual, the watch can display 31 different time zones, which is especially impressive considering there's actually only 24 time zones in the world. But I'm guessing it's to make it easier for you to find the one you're looking for by going from a city code instead. But to make life a little simpler, you can choose the 4 cities that you're most interested in and set those as your favorites. You can also choose your main time zone, which will always display on the little GMT clock in the corner. So far, the only thing I can really say against this watch is the quite pathetic little light that comes on when you press the button. But to be honest, it illuminates the face, so I guess I can't really complain because that's all the light needs to do. It would just be quite nice if it was backlit. Right, let's look at the dimensions. So the lug to lug is 48.2 millimeters. The width is 45 millimeters. And the width, or height, or however you like to look at the thickness, is 13.8 millimeters. And because it's so light, being made entirely of plastic, that actually wears much smaller than it sounds. It only weighs 40 grams, so you barely know you're wearing it. The resin strap feels like it's incredibly strong, and I think the pins would come out long before the strap broke. The little clasp is made of plastic, which I know you would think is going to break, but I was giving it some really good tugs, and to be honest, it feels pretty strong. So I'll just list off those other features. There's a countdown timer, a stopwatch, 5 daily alarms, which I think should be enough even for the most organized of people, a calendar. So the glass is something that it calls resin glass, which I'm pretty confident is just plastic. But what it is a very hard plastic, because I've been wearing it on the beach and scratching it around on rocks, and as yet, not even a hairline scratch, which is quite impressive. So, why is this better than a Rolex GMT? Well, obviously, I would love to swap this for a Rolex GMT because the price difference is crazy. But then that's one of the big things that makes this better. No one is going to cut your hand off for a £20 watch. If a Rolex GMT does one thing, it draws a lot of attention. And I know there's the old myth about the reason that the SAS wear Rolex is so they can go into a bar and bargain in some rough area to get like transport or something like that. But I think that probably only works when you're a member of the SAS and you could basically beat anyone up. I think if any normal person went into a bar in a rough area and attempted to bargain their Rolex watch, they would walk out without a Rolex watch and with nothing else. So that's another reason why this cheap, reliable, simple watch is such a good choice for traveling in different countries. When traveling the world, the first thing you realize is it's not as simple as some places are safe and some are not. Whether you're in the streets of London, the jungle, the outback, it doesn't matter. There's always risk of things being stolen. So you really don't want anything that draws attention to yourself. So an expensive watch is always going to draw attention to you. And in some ways, a homage watch could be even worse, because imagine getting mugged over something that only cost you $20. That's also quite an unfortunate irony. My next good reason is airport security. Because this watch is almost entirely made of plastic, there is no need to take it off to go through the metal detectors, which makes life a lot easier. And for me, anything that makes airports easier is a must.
If you're like me, you've got meetings in various different time zones and you just have to know what time it is all the time. I've said time a lot in that sentence, I'm aware. But I wanted a watch that would help me with this. So first thing I did was I went out looking for a reasonably priced, good-looking GMT watch. But it seems that that doesn't even exist. So when I did my research, I realised that the best travelling and adventure watch in the world was this.
I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know if you've got any adventure watches that you think would be even better. I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Please subscribe.